Hello coders, good afternoon. It's been a while. So today we're going to be working on something completely different to everything we've been working on before. I have been building in the background the new howtocodewell.fm website. And previously this was a static site built in, I keep looking over there. I've moved all the things around so the camera's here. So yes, previously it was built in Sculpin, which is a static site generator in PHP. However, what I've done, which has been great, but there needs to be, it takes a bit of, I have a couple of issues with building this site as a static site thing. One is that I can't easily update it on the fly when a new podcast episode comes out. So anyway, what I've done is I've rebuilt the site using Symfony and using a console script that will get to the RSS feed and build the pages. It's incredibly simple. It's like the most simplest site. I think I've knocked it up in a few hours. It was really an incredibly simple site to build. So let me just get over to the code and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the site. This is on the local on the local box here. So incredibly simple. It's How to Code Well podcast. This will replace howtocodewell.fm. This is the homepage. It's just got a list of episodes. And if I was to click on one of these episodes, it would go to the show page, and I've kept it incredibly simple. It is just How to Code Well. That will just be .fm, and then that's the show number. And then here we have the content. We've got a little player here of that particular episode. So that's 118. It's incredibly simple. It's We've got a page on here on the right hand side which has episodes, which is very similar to the homepage, except this has pagination, which will allow you to go through to the other episodes. So for instance, if I want to get to page 4, then this is How to Code Well. It will be .fm archive and then 4, so that's page 4. So you can see that it brings all the pages up here. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to see that particular one here. It's also outputting the HTML. There's a bit of funky formatting that I do need to play around with, but essentially it's all there. We also have a contact page, which is also hooked up. So this would be howtocodewell.fm/contact, and it's got name, email, a particular topic, so question for the podcast, a course tutorial suggestion, podcast guest suggestion, podcast topic suggestion, or other, and then subject, message, and then permission. I grant permission for this feedback to be read out on air or be added to the website, and then this feedback, that should be one word, feedback is private. So that's just a way of sending a message to me. Now, functionally, it's pretty sound. There are a few things, little niggles, that I wouldn't mind sorting out. For instance, it says here, "Hello, home controller." I built this in a very short space of time. Also, the way this is working is it uses a SQLite database. So if I go over to the actual code. Let's just close all this stuff down. So it's using a SQLite database, which is here. Can I load this up? Are you going to show me the schema? One of these buttons will do it. Manage. I can just show you the entity. Let's just do that. I don't know. I rarely use this database output in the schema. Is that gonna? No, console. New session? Nope. What's that? Play button? Nope. That's oh, that's to put it in SQL. I see. SQL. Anyway, so what I can do is show you, because I've completely forgotten how to do that in PHP Storm. If I go to src here and go to entity, we can see that there is just an episode. It's just an episode. So it's got ID, external ID, show number, season, title, content, file URL, link, duration, published date, creation date, updated date, you know, the usual stuff. Again, incredibly simple. I've also got a little model here for feedback. So this is, I'm not storing the feedback in the database. It goes straight, gets sent to me via email at the moment anyway. So yeah, it's just a simple getter and setter jobby. That's all. What else? Oh yeah, there's the form for the feedback. There's the repository for the entity. There's the controller. So we've got a contact controller, home controller, a show controller. We've got a command. This is the interesting thing, which is the RSS feed importer. This was the very first thing I did. So this here imports the RSS feed. Now, before I go any further, this is completely open source, right? This thing is totally open source. So feel free to grab it, hack it, fork it, fix it, break it. And what this is doing is it runs, when you run this feed importer command, it gets the RSS feed from the podcast feed URL, which is a parameter that you have to supply in your environment variables. And it gets the RSS feed, loops over each of the posts, and then sets the relevant variables, and then creates the episode, and then saves. Job done. And that goes into our SQLite DB here. In fact, what I can show you, what I should have showed right at the start, is if I go over to README. Where are we? README. There we go. So in the README, we have. Let's just show this here. Yeah. So the requirements are Docker machine and Docker Compose. That's just the way I work. And also make. So create your Docker machine, evaluate the shell, and then put in some podcast feed URL and the database URL into your environment variable. Run make install. Now make install is going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So build the containers, or there's only one container. Build the container. Actually, no, there's more than one container. There is the container for Composer and Node, but they are like sidecar containers. Anyway, run and make install will install the whole thing, get the IP from the Docker machine, update your hosts, and then I'm on a Mac, so I run this sudo kill all to kill the DNS, and then it basically restarts. And then I've got some useful build commands in here as well, like make enter, make test, import the feed, all of that jazz. So what I'm going to do is just run a RSS feed importer, because I have a suspicion. What I'm doing here, if I go over to that, one of the issues that I want to address today is that this is constantly creating new episodes. What I need to do is find whether an episode exists currently, and if it does, update it, and if it doesn't, create it. At the moment, it's just creating a new episode. So for example, if I was to go over and kill, so if I was to let's just delete this whole database. I should have just done that through command line. So I've dropped the database, and if I go into the terminal now, you can see I've already ran this script. If I did make enter to get into the container, and then if I did, oh gosh, what's the command? Bin console. I've got this in a make command anyway, but I'll just show you. There is this here, the app feed importer. Now that's probably going to cry, actually, because I've deleted the database. What I should do is create the database. Yeah. I tell you what, let's come out of this and do make install. So what make install will do, it'll build the image. It's already built. Is that? Okay, it'll make the image. And I think it'll do some bits and pieces around the database, so we'll just let this run. So yeah, I think I'm going to use the external ID as a means of checking. So what I need to do today is create like a something maybe in the repo to check whether this episode already exists, and if it does, update it. If it doesn't, create one. Come on. Now all of these errors above, you'll see in a minute when the script runs. What I did is around episode 74, 75, I switched podcast hosts. I was using Libsyn, now I'm using Anchor, and Anchor provides different things such as show number and series, whereas Libsyn doesn't, or at least it didn't when I was using it. And so I've got a bunch of episodes from like 0 to 75 that don't have various different node values. So I can only import from 75 upwards, which is a task that I do need to fix, going forward, obviously. Right, so what are we doing? We have created the containers. We're now running composer install. This install command can be ran even if it's already installed. It'll just jump over the bits that are already done. So that's going to run the recipes. It's going to clear the cache. I'm going to have a bit of my tea. So whilst this goes on, I'll rabbit on about something random. So I have recently purchased some new lights for the office, which are really nice. They're the Elgato key light, and I've also moved the camera so it's in the middle of the screen, which is nice. So even though I'm looking at the code here, I'm not a million miles away from where the camera was previously, and I think it's a better shot. It's a better shot than it was before. I have a very small office, so it takes a little bit of, what do they call it? That sort of Japanese sort of funkiness, although my desk is completely messy. It's terrible. Okay, so that's done. We're now going to pull Node, which I think already exists, and now we're going to do a yarn install, which has already installed all the things. Now we're going to run Webpack, which has already ran. Yeah, I'm having to cram a lot of stuff into a very small place. Okay, so it's doing the migrations. Now it's running that script. This is what I wanted to show you. So it's running the script and it gets to about 75, 74, and then it fails. And I've just got it printing out these failure stuff. This is why on the actual site, I think if I go back to episodes, the last page in the archive, if I go to the last page, number 5, yeah, 75 is the last one it goes in. There's also other issues that I wanted to address, might get to it today. Like, for example, in the titles, we have the episode number, and then we have S3 for the season, and then episode again. That was because of the way podcasts used to work. When I was using Libsyn before, there wasn't the ability to say what was the episode number. And so podcasters put the episode number and the season in the title, which is why we've got a duplicate here, because the code is actually putting out the number, so the show number, because that's now available, which I think isn't available for like episode 74 and before. So what I think there's a piece of work that I need to do to actually go back and update the previous episodes with those details, and then update all of the episode titles to remove the season number and the episode number, and then run my script again, and then hopefully it'll all be updated, because the RSS feed would be updated. Which brings me to this thing that we want to do today, and that is to you can see the database is being popped in. We want to do a check whether or not this episode exists or not. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. So let's get started on that, shall we? So we've got we're setting the GUID, right? So processing, and then we've got that. So if I scroll up to the top here, we can see that it's processing these things. That's what it's processing in. If I was to run this script again, of course, it will just add more stuff. I suppose what I need to do then is, do I have the entity manager interface? I do. So somewhere around here, I need to do let's do known episode is equal to, and then we're going to do this entity manager get repository, and it's episode paths in the class name, and then we'll do a find one by, and then we'll put in some criteria in here. So we have, I think I've called it external ID. Yes, I have. Thank you very much. And we want to pass in the GUID. There we go. All right. So if known episode is an instance of episode, then we've got it. I can't spell episode. There we go. Known episode. If we could go one step further, couldn't we? We could do this. Episode. Let's tidy this up a little bit. So episode is equal to, if it is an instance of episode, then it's that, else it is new episode. There we go. There we go. And I think that's it. That's all I need to do, really. That should solve our problem. And then we can save and flush and do all of our usual shenanigans. Yeah, that works quite well, actually. So if episode is equal to, if known episode is an instance of episode, then it's known episode, else it's a new episode. That should work. That should work. What's the best way to test this? I suppose what I could do is to ensure that there's only 5 pages, because we've just deleted the database, recreated everything again. So there's only 5 pages, so they shouldn't increase. And I guess what I could do is I could screw around with, say, the title. Let's say, for instance, if let's just do title is equal to title dot test. All right, so that's going to put a test on the end of each one of these bearing in mind that there should only be 5 records and we should only go up to 75. Okay, let's hit save. Let's now run that command again. I'm going to actually run the make import feed command, which I should have just done in the first place rather than rebuild everything. But so this is now going to run here. Okay, right. Now let's refresh and see if that's worked. Yes, it has. We've only got 5, and there we go. We have test on each of these things. That's pretty cool. I like that. Let's just double check the first page. Cool. I'm going to add a little bit of logging to this because I think what I need to do is possibly split this out. Yeah, I mean, that's great in terms of, you know, a pragmatic way of getting the, whether it's a known episode or not, but it would be nice to have some logging around this. I suppose what I could do is if, I will have to go back to what it was. If a known episode is an instance of episode, then I would like to have some logging. So IO, IO info, isn't it? Yeah. And the message is updating, and this really should go above. So updating, and then the GUID, or just updating episode with the show number. There we go. And we could do, yeah, so that would go down here, like that. And episode, I mean, we could leave it like that, but else, if info, creating new episode. Okay, so this here, yeah, well, let's just leave that in as it is. Actually, that works quite well. I was going to do something fancy around this if statement to, you know, instantiate a new episode if yeah, let's leave it as is. That's cool. Right. Let's think. Actually, no, I will do that. So we'll do episode is equal to new episode, and down here we'll do episode is equal to known episode. There we go. Let's get rid of you. Don't need that anymore. There we are. Okay, and let's do our test run. Now I've removed the test stuff from it. It's incredibly quick. Right, again, there should only be 5 pages. I also want to remove this as well, How to Code Well podcast, off the end of some of them, off of the ones that have them, to be fair. Yeah, I guess when I started podcasting, I didn't really know what I was doing, and to be fair, I still really don't know what I'm doing, to be fair. I just speak into a microphone. but when it comes to actually the SEO of a podcast, it's a bit of a mystery as to how you should sculpt these things. But when you put them on a website like this, it does highlight the areas that need improving. Okay, so that's done. I'm happy with that. The idea for me is to put this script on a cron. So the idea is that this is going to update the site every 15 minutes. So I can go into Anchor and actually just play around with the if I find a spelling mistake or whatever. So the site is constantly updating itself from the RSS feed. That's the plan anyway. That's how I would like to do it. Okay, I'm going to commit that little change. So let's do git status, see what we've done, git diff. So git commit -am, updating episode if needed. And I'll show you the GitHub. Let's just bring this over here. The GitHub account for this. Yeah. So here we go. Right. So this is the repo. Now, at the moment, this is still using Sculpin on master. It's still using Sculpin. All right. So if you were to check this out, it would be the Sculpin site, which was okay. Like I said, it was a bit awkward to update anything, and I have kind of let it sort of deteriorate over time. So, but the branch that we're working in is in features Symfony. This is where we live. And the idea is that, so that's the README file there. Once I'm happy with everything, I'll issue a big pull request that will replace master, which I will rename to main when we get to that point. Yeah, it will just basically replace Sculpin, and then I'll just deploy that. Yeah. Okay, so we also have a project. So let's have a look at that. Symfony Rebuild is the project that I'm doing here. So I added some tasks in. As you can see, I haven't really... This was kind of like my crazy mind map as we were going through it. So there's a bunch of stuff that I have done, and there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't done. Let's work from the top and look at these things. So I wanted to get Xdebug working. I haven't done that. Create the footer, RSS courses, and contact. I haven't done that. Create a main menu. I have done that. However, we've done episodes and we've done contact. We're not going to do... I'm going to just remove courses. That can go. So that is done. Okay, so we haven't done the footer. Okay, create a production server, haven't done that yet. Create a staging server, haven't done that yet. Create a job, create a cron job to update the feed. Run every 15 minutes via Ansible. Run in local container, run in staging container, run in production container. So nope, haven't done that yet. That's to do. Create a contact page. So display the contact form. Yes, it has a name, an email, a topic. We have more topics than this, but I'll just tick those, and a message and a private box. Controller should send email when submitted. Yes, that is done. Off you go. All right, create a show page. So display the title. Am I doing that? Let's have a look. I can't remember. Let's click on new. Well, I'm displaying the title here, but am I displaying the title there? Yes, I am. Okay, so there we go. That's done. Display HTML content, done. Embed the player. Am I doing that? Yes, I am. Done. URL should be show episode num, which isn't the case anymore. I'm going to just edit this just so I've got some. That is now done. All right, next. Homepage. Okay, so this is something we could play with today. So list the first 5 episodes. So that's not the case. How many have we got? Why is it taking so long? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've got 10. All right, so we can change that to 10. Save that. We've done that. So let's do that then. I'll tell you what, let's move that right to the top of the to-do. Let's finish going through the rest of them, and then we'll tackle that one. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Haven't done the cron, haven't done this, haven't done that. That's it. That's all I've got. Okay, create 500 and 404. So let's do the embed of player on the latest show. I can't spell latest, can I? My spelling is appalling. So essentially what I would like to do, and what I'm going to do is also create another task in here to alter title, page title to how to code well podcast. There we go. Save. Boom. And that really should come through config, I think, because I mean this is an open source project, so let's change that. So set this via a config parameter. Let me just, sorry, I just got to check my phone a mo. Just been vibrating in the pocket. I just wanted to double check. After page title, alter page title to have how to code well podcast. Set this via config. Yeah, I wouldn't mind putting that as a, like how to code well podcast, and then allowing people to change that via the config. Like their environment variables, perhaps. And then, yeah, embedding the player. Let's do the page title first, and then do the player. So what I want to do is go into config, go into where are we? Services. That's what I want to do. And I want to create a new config. In here, we call this site name or site title. That is going to be the that's going to be the environment variable. Let me just go ahead and set it. I'll bring it over here. So it is site title, and we're going to call this how to code well podcast. Sweet. And I'm also going to, it needs to be in quotes like so. Right. Let's get rid of that. Go into the .env and add that down there as, yeah, so this .env is committed. This has just got a load of dummy stuff in it. So we'll do your site name, site title, whatever. What error? Oh, sorry. Yes, I forgot about that. Let's change the other one. Bring that back over here. I do like the updates, the recent updates to PHP Storm. They're good. Helps me sort of like remember things like this, like needs to put quotes and stuff, double quotes around text that has spaces and stuff. It's good. Do I have any CQRS, DDD, or microservices videos? No, I don't. I have microservice videos in Python. Do I still code? I would say that's what I'm doing right now. So yes, I do still code. Hello, Martin. Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. Do I still code? That's the only thing I know how to do, man. I've been away for a week. I was away for a week, so anyway, let's crack on. Let's move on. So with the site title, that gets passed into here, like so, which is set in the in there, and then what do we need to do? I guess we need to go into our SRC controller, homepage controller, and pull it out. However, it's in the template, isn't it? If I think about this, if I go into home, index.html, it is there. That's what we need. Is there any way I can get an environment variable directly through Twig? I don't think I've ever done that before. I don't think that it's possible. Oh, hang on, wait. There is. I remember in Symfony 3, or no, Symfony 2, there was a way of passing in Twig variables. I wonder if there's a way of doing that. I'm gonna have to Google this. Oh yes, thank you. 15,000. I know, it's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely bonkers. Thank you very much for saying so. I'm over the moon. I honestly just thought that this was going to be seen by me. When I started this whole how to code well stuff, it was essentially for me to put on my CV. That was it. I didn't intend to actually do any teaching. It just fell into that space of teaching. So it's all done by accident. So I'm gobsmacked that anybody's actually learning anything from all this. It's crazy. But no, I appreciate everybody's feedback, and it's what drives me forward, because now obviously I have a career in web development. I'm incredibly passionate about web development, and it is literally the only thing I know how to do. Yeah. What was I doing? Twig. That's what I was doing. I was trying to pass in a parameter, the environment variable that we've set down in here. Site title. I was going to try and find a way, because I could get it through the controller and I could pass it down. I mean, that's probably the better way to do it. But I want to see if there's a way I can get it through Twig. And I think there is. Let me just get... Let's just see. Twig. If I spell that right. Twig, Symfony. Environment variable. Yeah, here we go. Using an environment variable from env. How can I use environment variables from an env in a custom Twig function? Okay, it's not really a Twig function. Oh yes, this is a good example. Google Tag Manager. Next, reference the environment variable in config packages Twig like globals. There we go. That's what I need to do, and then I can just print it out. You see, sweet. That might be the thing that actually does what I want it to do. So it is globals. Where is this? Right at the top, is it? Yeah, globals. Globals. And then it is, everybody likes YAML. Site title. And we're going to use, I never get this right, it's the env stuff. There we go. And we've called it site title. There we go. I love the IDE. It just picks this stuff up. It's great. There we go. And then we need to then reference it in the actual Twig itself. So, for instance, that would be in our template, which would be down in here, right? So that needs to be site. Oh wow, my IDE picked that up. Site title. Brilliant stuff. So let's go and refresh this page, and I'm hoping that will now say How to Code Well podcast rather than Hello Home Control. No, it doesn't. Only word characters are allowed. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What have I done? Oh, there's an extra bit in there, I think. Let's refresh. There's an extra bracket. Come on. Come on, you know you want to. You know you want to change that title. You're thinking about it, aren't you? Thinking about it. You're not too sure. There we go. That's changed. Awesome. So, yeah, we can go over to here and we can click on you. Boom! So, I got to try and keep in mind that this is an open source project, which, you know, other people could use to do whatever they, you know, pull in other RSS feeds that generate things. So things like that, where I would normally hard code that into the template, I need to configure it to allow other people to configure it. Otherwise, that would require someone to fork the project, alter it, and then it be, you know, there'll be a danger of it being, well, it would, because they have to change it. They would have to, the project would have to drift a bit. Okay, so the next one, the next challenge is to embed the player with the latest show on the homepage. So essentially what I would like to do is have like this player that gets loaded here on the homepage, and I want it to be the first episode available. So I'm going to need to do a find one by, I guess it's going to have to be show number, and then do an order to get the latest show number. So that's episode 118, and that would be displayed here. As you can tell, I'm not overly fussed about the well, as you can tell, I'm not a designer. So, okay, what we need to do then is, I guess what I should do is commit this first, right? We're all doing this in one branch. So I'm not overly worried about like the commit messages and stuff. I'll probably squash the commits at right at the end before I merge it in. So let's do adding, actually first up, let's just see what I've changed. Git status before I just blindly commit this into the repo. We've changed the env, we've changed the twig YAML services. What did we do to services? What did we do to services? Git diff of config. Whoops. Sir, I can't remember. What did we do with that? Do I need to do that? Did I change? No, I don't think I need to do that. I think it's just a change in here, right? Let me just refresh this page a minute and see. Yes, that's correct. Okay, cool. Git adding yes, adding site title to the homepage config, and altering the homepage controller. No, homepage twig. Homepage template. Boom. Off you go. There's other things that this does that I probably should have ran. Like, for instance, there's make tests, for instance, which will, or make test, which will run PHP stan, which is static analysis. And then after that, there's PHP unit, which runs, I think there's a handful of tests that get ran. Oh, look, there's an error. Let's fix that one first, shall we? So line 34. Yeah, so there isn't a code pipeline yet. There's no CI, continual integration on this project yet. You know, I did start it just a couple of days ago, so sorry, I'm tabbing all over the place, aren't I? It's just because it's shift, that's what I'm looking for. And then paste that in. And what was the line number? 34. 34. Here we go. Right, missing service. Gets a service. What? Parameter bag is missing. Well, it's there. So don't know why the IDE thinks that that's a service that's getting it from the parameter bag. Anyway, the problem is that we can't cast array, bool, float, integer, string, or null to a string. Great. So what we could do is if is string email to first of all, we'll check whether it's not a string. So if isn't a string, then we'll throw an exception. Throw new exception. Email well, email underscore to parameter email to must be a string. All right, then I suppose what we need to do is if empty, because it could be an empty string. Email to, and then we throw an exception. Parameter email to must not be empty. All right, so we should now have a string. So let's go and run static analysis again. So as you can see, all these are doing is just running, there we go, it's done. It's just running these Docker commands, and that one here is the PHP unit test that I've got. Just checks things around the episode entity, that's all. I've been fairly light and probably a little bit too loose on the whole testing front of this, but like I said, it's a very small site, so I'm not massively concerned at this stage. I will be when I push it up. Right, so git status. Let's do a git diff quick just to see what we've done. Yep, that's all good. So we've just done some type checking. Git commit -am, adding type checking to email to parameter. Again, because this is an open source project and people try and get to that contact page, if they haven't set it in the environment variables, that's a good idea actually, that's a good point. I've just thought of something. I need to actually update the README file. Yeah, if people haven't updated these things, then here we go. I need to get to this view. There we go. So it is, well, I could probably just take it from here, right? On the EMV. It's that one. And, oh, it is missing. Email to, let's do, please at change.me. Whoever's got that email address, I apologize. There we go. Cool. Again, git status. Let's do a git commit -am. Updating README. That'll do. Git push. Off you go. Cool. So this is create a env.local in the root directory with the following variables. So these variables will override the variables in here with your .env.local. And it's the .env.local is git ignored, which is, you know, a good thing. Right, let's what were we doing? We were looking at this. Here we go. So embed the player to get the latest show on the actual homepage. So on the index controller here, I want to put in example wrapper here. I want to put in latest show or something. The way I've done it is if I go over to show index. This is the player. It's in an iframe. Really, that needs to be. I guess at some point I'm going to need to put that in config as well, because what this does is just does a string replace of that. I can see people trying to fork this for that specific reason, but let's just grab that for a minute. Bung it there. So I need to somehow supply show.link. So I'm gonna call this latest. I can never spell latest. Latest show. Thank you, dyslexia. I love you very much. Latest show.link. Right, so I need to somehow, pass in latest show.link. I need to pass that variable through from the controller. So we go to src, we go to controller here, and home controller. We need to pass that in. So latest show will be, I'm doing this backwards, by the way. Latest show, which is a variable that I haven't assigned yet because I haven't created it. So latest show is equal to, now we've got the whole repository there, excuse me, so we can do find, there's find all ordered by show number. I think what I'm going to do, grab you, we're now deep in the repo. We don't need to worry about pagination, but I think what I'm going to do is just grab this. We want to find, I guess we want to find just the find latest, right? Find latest. So we don't have a page, we don't have max results. It's not going to return a pager. It's going to return an episode. That's what it's going to return. So, do we even need to worry about any of this? No, I suppose what I could do is just do, I don't necessarily need to worry about the query builder, do I? Could we not just do return this, find one by, passing that in. What's that? We don't need to worry about the criteria. All we need to do is worry about the order. So there we go. So the order is going to be show number, I think. And we're going to order that by, I get this wrong all the time, ASC. It's either that or a DSC. PHP stand method find latest should return an episode, but returns an episode or null. Okay, yes, so it does need to be. Are you gonna like that now? Is that good? Thank you. Okay. Find latest. So let's go back to the home controller and then do this. Find latest. The reason why I've done that, I could have just done that in the controller, but the reason why I've done that is I'm sure at some point I'm going to change the schema, and I would like to have all the internals of the schema changes in the repository, and just firing out find latest. It says exactly what I need to do, find latest. As to how it happens, that's up to the method. Right, PHP stand call to undefined method find. Oh, great. Really? Now, I need to work on the whole fact that it could be null. But I probably could do that in the twig. This is interesting. Why is that throwing an error? Call to undefined find latest. I think maybe I should just run it and see. It's there, man. It's there. Yeah, let's just run the code and see what fails. It's always it'll tell me. Green tea. I'm on a bit of a health kick at the minute. Oh, hang on, right. What's this? There we go. Episode 75. So yeah, I have got it around the wrong way. I thought I did. Find latest. So that's D. Is it SC? No, it's DESC. There we go. Ugh. Right, so that should now be episode 118. Come on. Yeah. Awesome. Good. Let's tidy this up a bit. I tell you what, let's cope with the fact that this might not actually exist. Let's do on home controller. Let's set this to null because that's what it would be. That's going to fail. So we'll have a little if statement in the twig. There we go. Impossible to access, blah, 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 on the null variable. So, because again, I need to think this is an open source project. You know, not all, you know, the import script may have not ran yet. So we need to consider that. So let's do an if statement in here. So if latest show and I think I could probably just get away with that. I reckon. End if. Let's hit save. I'm not sure. I don't think I need to worry about. There we go. There we go. That's it. So let's go back here and let's change that back to this. There it is. There we go. Nice. Nice. We're cooking on gas. That's great. Find latest. Yeah. I'll add a little bit of documentation. Why not? So finds the latest episode. And this one here we'll do find order by show number. I'll just leave it as is. Actually, there's no need, to be fair. I mean, it's documenting itself, isn't it? That says exactly what it's going to do, and that's the return. So there's no need to I'm not a massive fan of commenting just for the sake of commenting, right? If it says what it needs to do, and to be fair, if you're trying to do clean code, then your method name should tell you exactly what the method's going to do. And so with the parameters and the returns. PHP is, you know, it's getting statically typed now, so let's just rely on that. One thing I wouldn't mind doing, let's do a little bit of visual work, shall we say. Let's do a div class. Is it really going to be class? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Class. I want to put this in the middle. So what I'm going to do is say this is going to be latest episode container or something. As you can notice, as you see, there's no tailwind here. There's none of that fancy stuff. It's just raw CSS. This is done in assets in CSS in here. And I'm just going to bung it at the bottom. And I guess what we could do is a width of 100%. What's the best way to center this? I suppose we could use flex, right? Yeah, we could do like, there's a way to do it. Flexbox center Center one item. Center a line. Display flex, justify flex item, flex auto start. No, I think wasn't there an easier way to do this? Flex direction, column, align, enter. Yeah, there we go. So we can do display flex. Probably don't need that 100% to be fair. I mean, it is a block element, so display flex, and then flex direction. I don't even think we need. Yeah, we do need this. I think column, and then is it align? Yeah, align items. I always get align items and justify content around the wrong way. This is align items. I mean, it makes sense if you say it out loud. You're aligning an item, but still. So this should go into the center. Now I don't know whether I need to put in any kind of width or height on that iframe, but I mean, I have in the inline code, but we'll see. Basically, I just want that to pop in the middle if we can. Or just disappear, or just not work. Do I need to run? Oh, I might have to run Webpack to actually get this to do its thing. I probably need to do that. Let's try and do that. Let's do a make UI dev. Is it dev? Is it build? Is it purge? Is it install? No, it's dev. There we go. So this is going to run yarn run dev from the container, from the node container, which is the sidecar container. And because we are bind mounting, we're bind mounting the volumes in Docker of both Node and the website, the web server. They're both shared, and therefore when Node gets changed, the web server gets changed. Yeah. I've just realized stream is going a little bit over, so this will be the last bug, last thing to do. There we go. Done. Let's refresh the page. Also, because I can smell my food. Getting hungry now. Come on. Move it in the middle. Please move it in the middle. Please. Yeah. Woo. It's like a website from the 80s, isn't it? Awesome. Well, that's that done. Cool. I'm going to love you and leave you. This Thursday, we've got the podcast again. So that's going to happen about 8 o'clock here on YouTube. 8 o'clock British summertime. Or is it GMT now? I forget. We haven't changed the clocks. I'll let everyone know on Twitter and Discord like I usually do. Yeah. I hope you like the lights and the new setup here. It's I think it's better. I can actually see things better. I feel like I've got full command over the whole screen in my big screen here, which is nice. But yeah. Have a great week. If I don't speak to you on Thursday, and if you are here on Thursday and you are new to watching the podcast, then do say hello. Do just jump in the chat and just drop a message. Tell me how you're getting on with code. Tell me like what you're doing in your career, or if you've just started to code. Tell me where you're at. Be nice to have a little convo. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot off. Thank you ever so much for watching and enjoying the struggle. I'll let everybody know when this goes up, and the link to the repository is in the show notes if anybody wants to tear it apart.